Red Lipstick Conversations. I am so sorry we have been having technical difficulties and weren't here because I was in Utah supporting my son at his football game. But we're back and marvelous. I am your host, naturally NaTasha, aka NaTasha Aramis. And each week we have bold, real, unscripted conversations, and we just want to give you on the conversations with all different people traveling all walks of life, personally and professionally, with top-notch guests. Okay. So today I have Brenda DeRouen. She is a family and divorce attorney. Yes, y'all heard that right. She is a family and divorce attorney. Her platform is absolutely amazing. Y'all know I'm big on interviews. I stumbled across her page on IG. I was like, I have to hit her up. I have to get her on this platform so that she can give y'all all the tips, gems, and knowledge that she has on her page. So, Brenda, welcome. Thank you so much for accepting this invitation. I am so excited to have this conversation so that you can get some tricks and all that good stuff. But to start off the show, you a question, and I ask the same question to all my guests. Has
Okay.
being bold played a role in your life?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Natasha, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me and letting me share this space with you. Being bold has impacted my life in a major way. Just being able to put myself in positions and to also, just love on myself and just encourage myself and to make decisions that are not necessarily typical of a person coming from my background. It's allowed me to be able to live a flourishing and what I consider a successful life.
Okay. So you said coming from, what is your background? Can you elaborate how, like, what is your background,
Absolutely.
how you got into law? Is this something you always wanted to do? Is it something, you just stumbled across it? Like, fill us in.
Absolutely. So I come from a very small town, Cameron, Texas, and
Okay.
I was raised by my grandparents. My mother was incarcerated until I was 12, and so my grandmother had seven children, and all but one of them were in prison. So each and every one of them, except for my aunt, well, actually my uncle, um, were in and out of jail. And so I seen the criminal justice system, I seen the prison system from a very young age. Also, I am a teenage mother. I had my son when I was 17 years old. And so all that to say, everything about me is beating statistics. I'm the first in my family to go to college, first in my family to go to law school, first in my family to have a successful six-figure business. And so when I say bold, everything that I've done has been with statistics, against me.
Shout out to the teen moms. Okay. See, I knew it was something about you radiating through that IG screen because I was a teen mom and I see the relationship that you have with your son. And that is so similar to when I had my son, the relationship between me and my son. So, absolutely, I am so proud of you. I think people we
Thank
don't toot our horn enough, beating the
you.
odds. You know what I'm saying? Not becoming that statistic. So I
Right.
just wanted to give you your flowers. Like while you're still like, I'm so proud of you for that. That is that. You're
Thank you. I
welcome.
appreciate that.
You're welcome. Okay. So I want to several questions. So the first question that I have written down, so if you see me looking over here, is because I have a whole list of things that I want to ask. Some red flags or warning signs that might indicate that someone needs to seek legal counsel for their family law situation. Because being that we've been teen moms, and when
Hmm.
is it that time where you suggest like, yo, this is just regular, co-parenting drama, or no, this is drama that needs to seek like legal counsel.
Absolutely. So it is my belief. So I am a family and divorce attorney, and I deal with families all day long, whether it's people going through divorces, or it's single parents or separated parents who are trying to navigate co-parenting with their co-spouses and co-parents. I think a red flag is anything that's going to deal with an agreement needs to actually have some type of court order in place. And anytime there is a child involved, I absolutely believe that you need a court order in place. And the reason that I say that is a court order and seeking an attorney is going to protect you from things that might happen in the long run. So for example, a lot of times be like, oh, we co-parent very, very well. He gets the kids on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I get the kids on such and such day. When you don't have an order, parents can do whatever they want to do. There is no right or wrong. So I always say, if you have some concerns about the other parent possibly getting mad and doing something, you definitely need to seek an attorney. I always give this example. Right now, without a court order, if either parent wanted to move to Africa and not tell the other parent anything about that move, they could do that, and there will be very little that you can do to kind of remedy that. So I always say, when there are children involved, or when there becomes a situation where there needs to be an agreement, whether it's amicable or contentious, you need to seek an attorney.
That was actually going to be questions that I had written down. What were the legal advice for if someone wanted to move out of state? Because I know, oh, sorry, my alarm, girl, that's saying don't eat right now. Don't eat no more snacks. Okay?
There is no more food.
Snacks. You done. You done. Look, I got this water. That's as much as you gonna have for the rest of the night. But I know, like personally, I've had friends that it was, I mean, women can be on some stuff too, but there were, that they wanted to better themselves and they wanted to relocate, and the father was making it a hard thing for them to and then once they did relocate, now here it is that they have to go that they relocated from, because the father was basically saying like, yo, you taking my kids away from me, instead of seeing it like, yo, you know what I'm saying, like, I'm trying to better myself, I got a job, I'm in a new space in my life. Like, what would you suggest before that person think that there was no issue? Because I know every state has their different laws, and I know Texas on one, not y'all, but they be on one. So what would be your?
So it really depends. So every situation and every family is unique and different. If, for a example, the parties had an agreement that this person could leave, I would have probably advised her to go ahead and leave and get some type of text message or something in writing, not necessarily an agreement, but some type of evidence showing that that person was in agreement with that person leaving. If there was agreement. B, if there was no agreement, I would ask that person to kind of establish their contacts within the place that they wanted to live. Maybe start, if they had family members there, if they had a job lined up, your example said, would make a better life for them. And so if, you could show that the cost of living is a lot cheaper, they have better support system, better schools there, there's a really good job there, then I would start having that person get those things in place so you could be strategic if and when a lawsuit is filed, to show why that place might be in the best interest of the children. Also, if that person was in that state for 6 months or more, I would, or within 90 days, 6 months preceding a lawsuit, I would ask them to establish jurisdiction and go ahead and file maybe a suit affecting the parent-child relationship in that state, so that you already established jurisdiction, so the court wouldn't necessarily make you move anywhere, because that's now the child's home residence. So there's so many different factors that goes into advising a person. So it just really depends on their circumstances and what they have going on. But that's a big thing that comes up. Once you're locked into a geographical restriction in court, it's very hard to get out of that. So once the court has established jurisdiction and there is a geographical restriction that restricts the managing conservator or the primary parent from moving, it is very hard to get from under that.
I don't know how you do this on the day to day, because I can, you have some heartbreaks to where you're trying to go and help a person, and that the help that they're seeking, it doesn't go in their favor. Bring you on here because I feel like it's so many of us, speaking for women, it's so many of us women that don't see, so because we're scared that we're going to lose, or we're going to lose our, lose our children, especially because of how it looks like, oh, you never wanted kids away from the father, so then you're the bad mom, when you're like, well, they're really not helping, they're really not doing anything, I'm just trying to protect me and my children a better life, and then here it is, I got to go back home, like so what advice do you have considering divorce or facing a family law issue for the first time?
Seek an attorney, seek counsel, and find a support system. Anytime someone, like when people come to me, they are coming to me at some of the lowest moments in their lives, and they're very, very vulnerable. My job as an attorney is to help you understand what the laws are so that you can make an informed decision, and so that we can strategically put things in place to get you the most favorable result when it comes to court. So if a person is getting ready to go through a child custody case or go through a divorce, make sure you have a good support system. I always say go see a therapist. All of my clients know that's one of the first things that I tell them, because I'm not a therapist. I'm an attorney. My job is to help you understand the law. But with these cases come a lot of emotion. And so getting a therapist so that you can use your logical mind instead of your emotional mind is going to be very, very important. Come with questions, understand your why, understand what you're trying to do and why you're trying to do it, so that your attorney can all be on the same page with you and understand why certain things are important to you. And I mean, that's my advice.
So do you think that someone should wait until they have a certain amount of money saved up before they seek because I know that can be an issue too, right? Like somebody can be feeling stuck because they're like, I don't have any money, I don't have enough money to pay for an attorney. So should they wait until they get the money, or can that be written order, financial assistance, legal aid? But 9 times out of 10, like, ain't helping nobody. Like I try legal, turned down. If you a penny over, they not helping you. So like your advice for someone who's like, yo, I need to seek legal counsel, but I just can't afford it right now.
Right. So it's always beneficial to be able to provide, I mean, to have the financial backing to be able to get the attorney that you want.
Mhm.
Most attorneys for family law charge by the hour. So we are billable hour attorneys. But yeah, it would be great to have money, but sometimes certain simply do not have it. There are means and ways for attorneys to file certain motions with the court to request interim attorney fees to assist the party who has some financial constraints. Then there's also the State Bar of Texas. There are a list of attorneys who represent people pro bono who are not a part of the legal aid clinic that could actually represent. So I would say search the State Bar website, whatever state you're in. Every state has a state bar, and there are a list of attorneys who represent individuals pro bono, which means for free, or they may have a reduced rate. Also, another option is checking the local law schools in the city that you are located in. Most of the law schools have legal clinics, and so they are training attorneys to take on these family law cases. And also, this could be for a reduced rate or for a pro bono type situation. There are also attorneys like myself who also offer financing. So I'm big on making sure that legal assistance is affordable. I can't do it for free for everybody. I have a
Right.
staff that I have to pay and bills that I have to pay. But we
Mhm.
do offer financing. So if that is something that you qualify for and are interested in, those resources are available to people. But at the end of the day, when you are needing an attorney, it is not going to be a cheap thing. because we're taking on your problems and we have to help you navigate through a system. So
Mhm.
those are the resources that I know to be available. And also, don't always try to get the most expensive attorney, right? Your
Yeah.
budget may not be able to, afford the most expensive attorney. Find someone that you believe in, someone that understands your struggles, understands your story, and who's going to work for you. I know there are a lot of first year attorneys who are just as good in the courtroom as somebody who's been in the courtroom 20, 30 years. So just understand what your budget is and what you anticipate your cost to be. I will also say
Mhm.
that we don't control the cost of people's cases. Like, we're not here to take your money and just be balling out of control with it. Our clients truly control their costs. So the more you litigate, the more you are arguing, the higher your bill is going to be. There is a mediation process that allows you to reach agreements outside of court that can save tremendous amount of money. So if you don't have the money to fight, it's unfortunate. You can represent yourself, but understand what your strengths and weaknesses are so that you can navigate and you can tell your attorney what's important to you and what's not important to you. Because, say, for example, you are a dad and you already know mom is going to be primary conservator. You're not fighting for custody, but your attorney is doing all this work for custody stuff. You can say, listen, here's the agreement on custody. We don't have to go back and forth on that. Let's just focus on the property portion of the case. There are also attorneys who do limited scope representation. And so
Mhm.
if you are able to represent yourself and do a lot of the work yourself, you can hire an attorney to maybe just represent you at a hearing, to maybe just represent you at mediation. So there are many ways to be able to afford an attorney.
So bottom line is you need to do your research in order so that you know
Absolutely.
what you can afford. So what questions that you think somebody be prepared? So say for instance, I'm looking for an attorney. I'm on Google. I'm trying to find somebody that's in my area. I have the slightest clue what questions I should ask. What be some questions, advise us on?
So first things first, if I were looking for an attorney, I would do a quick Google search of that person's name, just to see what their reviews are. And then I would also go to the State Bar website, State Bar of Texas or State Bar, whatever state you're in, to look to see if this attorney has ever been sanctioned by the State Bar, if they are actually licensed to practice law. With the reviews, I always say a good thumb is I don't want nobody with 5 stars across the board. It's just not realistic to me.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a 5 star. If you find a restaurant that is really nice, there are going to be some bad reviews. So find you somebody that has something in the 4 to 5 star range so that you have a good understanding of who they are. Read those reviews and see what questions you need to ask them. Maybe there are some concerns about billables, right? Maybe there are some concerns about how that attorney bills. You need to understand how the attorney bills so that you don't have that issue. Maybe there's a concern about communication. I know in our office we are very high tech. Like, we communicate via email. We have a portal where our clients communicate with us. And so if you're an older person and you don't know how to use tech, I'm probably not going to be the best attorney for you. You want to also know how experienced they are. Are they 20 years plus? Are they just getting started? How comfortable are you with someone who's just getting started? Ask them questions about your case. And if they are able to answer these questions in a way that makes you feel comfortable and it seems or appears that they're knowledgeable about what they're doing, then that could be a good indication that that is an attorney for you. Also, interview your attorney. Like, what do you need?
Yes,
In
yes.
my
Look, you got
consultations,
to
I
spend,
tell
you got to spend your coin. I'm gonna need you to ask
listen,
all the
listen, if I'm giving you these thousands of dollars, baby, I need to know who you are, what you about,
right,
what you think about certain things. And I tell people, in my consultations, listen, I'm interviewing you just as much as you're interviewing me, because if you
right.
do not trust your attorney to do what is in your best interest, it is not going to be a good working relationship. And so you need an attorney that you can relate to, that is competent, and that talks the language that you talk.
Absolutely. So you one thing and it's written down. When it says on your page that you tech X, what is that like within your law firm? What do you mean by that? Because I heard you say that if someone's
Tech savvy.
coming to you and they not yeah.
So not necessarily a tech person, but I am a modern attorney. I, don't like people coming into my office. I rather have a meeting virtually via Zoom. I don't like people like just faxing me stuff, like send me messages through the
Not a
portal. I
fact.
call myself
Girl, I hope they ain't
there are still people who are to fax. There are
oh
still
my
people who do not know how to
goodness.
scan documents in and who will come and send you a big file of paperwork, and I hate it. But I call
Gotcha.
myself the
Yeah.
legal expert because I am interested in productivity when it comes to tech as it relates to the legal world. And I'm also interested in using that tech to educate my followers as well as other attorneys. And so, if you know anything about the law, we are very, very slow to adapt to what is going on in the world. It took us 2020, the COVID era, to even implement tech into our court systems. And so we had to go Zoom courtroom, but that was something that was never done before. And so
Yeah.
I love tech. I love anything that helps create productivity because it saves our clients money. For example, if I'm having a Zoom hearing, right, you're going to save much
Mhm.
more money from me hopping on a Zoom as opposed to me going down to the
At the
courtroom,
court. Yeah.
sitting there for 2 or 3 hours waiting for your case to be called. Because remember, most family law attorneys are billable hour attorneys. So for every
Yeah.
hour that I'm sitting there, you're paying me to sit there as opposed to, hey, there is a Zoom hearing at 10 o'clock. I hop on at 10 o'clock. The court says, hey, Attorney DeRouen, I'm going to call your case again at 11 o'clock. I can hop and do some other work and not necessarily have to bill you for that hour that I'm waiting because I'm not constricted in a
Yeah.
courtroom. So I call myself the legal tech expert because I love anything that helps create productivity and saves my clients money.
Got it. So I see that you're an author as well, and you have a children's book that teaches children's about a lawyer, right?
Yes, here's my
Yes.
book.
And oh, I'm gonna get that for my 3-year-old. She probably gonna scribble in it, but read
It's all
it.
right, as she should, as she should. Yes, it's called I'm a Lawyer, and I actually wrote this book during the pandemic. My little cousin, she was interested in law, and she wanted to know what work does an attorney like. What does an attorney do? And I remember being young, and all I thought when I thought about an attorney, I thought criminal law. I didn't
Yeah.
think anything different, like, oh, lawyer, somebody in trouble, right? And
Yeah.
so when you go to law school, you learn that there are so many ways that you can use your law degree. There are real estate attorneys, there are criminal defense attorneys, there are family law attorneys, there are business attorneys, personal injury attorneys. Basically, there are attorneys for every job that you could possibly have. And so I'm a lawyer basically is an ode one to all the different types of law that there is, but it's also an ode to Black women in law and minority women in law, just showcasing a Black little girl who's dreaming about being all these different things, and then learning about what attorneys do, and then also showcasing impactful minority women lawyers inside the book, like Michelle Obama and Justice Sotomayor and all these different people.
So tell them where they can find this book.
So the book is located at all places that you can find a book: Barnes and Nobles, Walmart, Target, all the places that books are sold, Amazon. They do have some of these books still located at the Barnes and Noble in Pearland, Texas, but you can buy it online as well.
Okay. Yes. I'm trying to find this post that because it was a post that you had, and I was like, oh my God, when I get her on, I definitely have a question. And now, of course, but like I said, I just loved your page because you have many. I love how you're engaging. I love how you look like me. You're representing us well. Um,
Thank you.
yes. So can you provide some tips actively communicate and co-parent with an ex-spouse after a divorce or separation, just to ensure the well-being of the children? Like, I know you said you're for therapy, but aside from therapy, do you have any tips on how they should be effectively communicating, just to be, you know, to be good for the kids?
Absolutely. So first things first, if you and your spouse are in a position where you guys can communicate effectively about your children, I always recommend sitting down and discussing expectations and boundaries on how you guys are going to move forward with raising your kids separate but apart. If you're unable to do that, I recommend using any co-parenting app. So there's Our Family Wizard, there's Talking Parents, there's App Close. And then also sitting down and taking a co-parenting class to kind of understand communication skills and just different things that you can do to ensure that you're being your best version of yourself as a co-parent. So there's familycourtclasses.com. There is a co-parenting class that teaches divorced and separated parents how to co-parent with one another. Always be open, upfront, and honest about what is going on with the children. Don't withhold information. Don't act like you are more. You mean more. You're more important than the other parent. Include that parent in things that are important to your child. So if your child is in sports or any extracurricular activities, make sure that that other parent has access to the information so that they can attend those activities. Medical decisions, just make sure that just be over communicative if you can. Make sure that that parent feels involved. Any information that you would want to know if you were not around your child, make sure you give the other parent that benefit. Um, and don't get in between the relationship between that child and their parent. If you were married and you divorced that person, you divorced that person, not the
Yes.
child. And so never come in between that relationship. Always encourage a positive relationship between the other person, and don't talk negative about that person in front of your child. That is not their business. That is not their opinion of their parent. And so I always say, just be nice. Be
Yes.
nice.
Play nice if you can.
Play nice and
So
be
do you
nice.
yes. So do you suggest the conversation um, be had with the child or the children are actually going through the divorce? Do you recommend sitting down like, hey, this is no longer working for, mom and dad, we're going to go our separate ways? And do you prepare them before the divorce, or do you have the conversation with them divorce?
So I hate that, this is our magic word, attorneys. It depends, right?
Yeah.
Some children,
Yeah, get
chil-
it.
chil- children are more, can take more than what we give them credit for. But
Absolutely.
I think that if you can, if time permits, I would allow my child to go to a therapist first to see the temperature. Let a professional understand the temperature of the child if you can. And then introduce that conversation together if you can, right? I think it's
Mhm.
important for both parents to sit down with a child to say, hey, this is what is about to happen, but these are the things that we're going to put in place to make you feel that you're still loved, that we still care about you, that we are still a team and we're still about you. And, although the dynamics of this household will change, the love that each of us have for you will not change. And so it just really depends on where your child is emotionally, how mature your child is. And be
Mhm.
mindful, because there are a lot of restraining orders once the divorce is filed that say you cannot communicate with your child about the litigation that is going on. So just be mindful that you're following an order. But if you can talk to your child before filing a divorce, I think that could be beneficial. But kids, one might accept it and be like, man, whatever, y'all got y'all stuff going on, I ain't in that. And then
Mhm.
another one will be just so depressed and distraught about their family dynamics breaking up and they cannot handle that transition. So, understand your child. I think parents know, we know what our kids need, and we always are
Mhm.
trying to act in their best interest. So do what feels right for you. It's my recommendation to try to have that conversation early on, but if you can't, you just can't.
So, okay, I'm just gonna ask anyway. So, majority of your clients are minorities, right?
Yes.
Yes. So, do you see that there is a huge difference in the way other races handle divorces versus how minorities handle divorces? Or do you think it's equal? Like, what do you think?
It depends on what we're talking about.
I'm
I
saying,
think
like, when it
most.
comes to the co-parenting aspect, just from, and I can only talk about from me and my sphere and the people that I'm around. It just seems a lot easier for other races to co-parent, minorities to co-parent.
I don't know that to be true. I think that it
Really?
just really depends on I really believe it depends on the person. Listen, I've had some clients from the Middle East who were like some of my worst clients. Like, not worst clients because of whatever, but the co-parenting was so bad, like so bad, like so bad. I've had a Caucasian family that, Lord help them. Like, I don't know how they making it today, co-parent, because being the attorney in that case was stressful. Like, literally holding your hand to help you co-parent. And then I've had some awesome African American families that I'm like, hey, I haven't heard from y'all in a while. Like, how is co-parent? Like, and they're good. They don't need anybody to hold their hand. So I can't say racially, or, I can't say that there is a difference. It really depends on the person. It
Person?
really depends on how much family means to you, and how much your relationship with your child means to you, and how much you respect the mother or father of your child. So I can't say that. I mean, listen, I've had bad all across the races, and I'm like,
Okay.
dang, it ain't that
Yeah, I just
hard. It's not that hard, baby. It's not.
well, that's probably because people still be in love with each other and angry and not really thinking, yo, this is about to, like, we really about to be done, honey. If I go to court and you present me with it, like, it's not no,
Mhm.
nah, I'm just playing. No, you wasn't. We good. We gonna continue to go through. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you not, I'm still mad. Like, we gonna keep
And
it.
it's so true. It really does. Like, your emotions play a big part in how you are responding to things and divorces.
Yeah,
And that's why I always suggest a therapist, because a lot, especially my women, we are so emotional. Like, women are the hardest
yeah,
people. I love my clients, all of them. But women are the hardest to represent because you have to feed that emotional part for them.
hmm,
You have to listen more. You have to be more understanding. You have to be more empathetic. You have to kind of massage the law so that they understand it.
yeah,
My male clients, I tell them A plus 1 plus 1 equals 2, and they be like, okay, cool, cool.
yeah,
All right.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
they're because they're logical. They're more
yeah.
logical, right?
Right.
And so, but then we do have some men that are very emotional. But most of my male clients are very logical. You tell them what the law is, they get it. My women, you got to tell them the law, tell them the law, tell them the law. Let them cry on your
Tell
shoulder
them
a little bit.
again.
Tell them the law, tell them the law again, and then they get it, right?
Yeah,
So it's important, like when you're going through a divorce, to try your best to use your logical mind instead of your emotional mind. And I get that from my therapist too. Like, Brenda, are you thinking logically or are you thinking emotionally?
listen.
And I use that on my
Right.
clients. Okay, you want all the house? Is that the right? Like, you want everything? So you want me
Right.
to take the man? Is that logical mind, or is that your emotional mind?
Right. Right. No, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense because I say this thing in a realtor. Like, it's much more easier to deal with when you're buying a house versus the women. We're so unsure. One minute we like it, the next minute's like, I don't know, it didn't feel right. Like, so it's just hard dealing with us. So I can imagine in something like a divorce or your children, you're very emotional when it comes to that. So I
Mhm.
can imagine, I can
Think
imagine that.
about we are mama bears. We are mama bears. Like
Absolutely.
you do anything that is against what I said for my child. Oh, it's all gloves off, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
sometimes it's not, sometimes that battle is not even worth fighting legally because you're going to lose every time and you're just going to be in a more emotionally distraught position than you were to begin with because you didn't listen to your attorney.
And look, sis, me, I'm not paying thousands of dollars to like, so I'm argue with you for free. I'm not gonna argue with you that I'm
Listen,
I'm paying to argue with you. No, that's all right.
that is the best thing that you can do for yourself is listen to your attorney. If your
Yeah,
attorney tells you to go up, you go up. If your attorney tells you go down, you go down. Because if I tell you go up and we get to court and you didn't go up, I didn't lose, you lost. Because I
you
told
love.
you what to do.
Yeah, yeah, I get you. All right. So last question, can you or yeah, just last question. Do you mind sharing any words of wisdom for the individuals that may be feeling emotional, go like battling within themselves? Should I legal counsel? Should I legal counsel at this moment? Like, could you just give them some words of wisdom, encourage for the place that they may be in right?
Right. So, like I said earlier, going through a divorce is very challenging. You are losing everything that you thought that you were going to have for forever. And the unfortunate truth of it all is that 50% of people in America who get married will get divorced. And
Mm,
so, if you're in that position where, divorce is a subject in your marriage, then seek legal counsel because the worst thing that you can do is sit there and do nothing and not be educated on the law, not know what you are entitled to, and not know the process that you may or may not be going through. So I would rather be informed than uninformed and emotional at the same time because when you're uninformed and emotional, you think the world is out to get you. Everything is unfair. And it's that way because you don't understand the process and you never took the time to sit down to understand, what this process is about. So even if you decide that you want to stay with your spouse, understand what your options are and what could be possible in your marriage or in your divorce because there are a lot of things that we can do to put you in a good position. I had a client that came not too long ago. She is a successful business owner, and I told her, listen, right now is not the time to file for divorce. I understand that you want out, but he's not doing, you can stay in it a little longer until we put some things in place to protect your assets. Right. And so those are things that attorneys can help you understand so that when it is time for divorce, you are in the best position possible.
that is good. That is good. Okay, Brenda. Well, tell the people where they can find you. Listen, we're going to be in contact. So, what part of
Yes,
Texas are you in? Like, you're towards Houston? Do you only
I
practice?
am in. So I practice in Harris, Fort Bend, Montgomery. Well, not Montgomery. Why did I say Montgomery? Harris and contiguous counties. So Harris, Waller County, Galveston County, Waller County, Fort Bend County, Brazoria County. Any county that's close to Harris County, which is the Houston area, is where I practice.
Okay. Okay. All right. So tell the people follow you on IG.
You can follow me on all social media platforms at Brenda's My Lawyer. That's BrendaSLaWyer. I'm on X. I'm on, that sounded funny to say. I'm on
Yes.
X. I'm on X. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Facebook. You can follow me at Brenda is my lawyer. If you are needing to consult with an attorney, I do consultations in the state of Texas. So if you're just looking for information, I can consult with you. But if you're actually looking to hire, you do need to be in Harris and contiguous counties. DeRowenLawFirm.com, or again, you can just go to Brenda's My Lawyer on any social media platform and click the link in my bio and schedule a consultation.
Yes, and y'all go get for all the little kids that y'all know. It's so great. A woman that us and representing us well. So y'all make sure y'all get that book. Thank you so much for this conversation, y'all. I hope y'all got gems, tips, the nuggets that she gave. If you're seeking a consultation, make sure y'all reach out to her. See y'all next week. Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you so
day.
much. Thanks
Well,
for
good night.
having me. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.